German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, NATO General Secretary Mark Rutte, and EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Washington's recent moves, including a call between President Trump and Vladimir Putin, have raised concerns among the European allies. The meeting aims to shape Europe's response to the evolving US stance on Ukraine.
Le président de la République réunira les principaux pays européens
demain
pour
une
discussion
Vous confirmez
pour des discussions portant sur la sécurité européenne. Mais ce sont des discussions qui n'ont pas attendu, si je puis dire, ni ce week-end, ni les déclarations des uns et des autres, puisque je vous dis que mercredi dernier encore, les Européens étaient à Paris.
Mais là, je comprends pas. C'est une réunion très...
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has said he's ready and willing to put UK troops on the ground in Ukraine to help guarantee its security as part of a peace deal. Writing in the Daily Telegraph, Starmer said securing a lasting peace in Ukraine was, as he put it, essential if we are to deter Putin from further aggression in the future. Before attending an emergency summit with European leaders in Paris on Monday, Keir Starmer said that the UK was prepared to contribute to the security guarantees to Ukraine by putting our own troops on the ground if necessary. And former Mauritius Prime Minister Pravind Jugnauth has been granted bail after his arrest on money laundering charges. Authorities seized 114 million Mauritius rupees, about $2.5 million, during raids at his home and other locations. A magistrate in Port Louis barred Jugnauth from contacting witnesses and ordered him to appear in court to complete the bail process. Jugnauth denies the allegations, and his lawyer insists he will fight these charges. The case comes after Mauritius's new government launched financial audits, raising concerns about corruption under the previous administration. Last month, the country's former central bank governor was also arrested in a fraud case. Mauritius, remember, a key offshore financial hub, is now facing scrutiny over its financial transparency. And in other news, strong tremors were felt in Delhi and its adjoining areas at about 5:36 a.m. local time after a 4.0 magnitude earthquake struck the national capital. The quake's depth was just 5 kilometers. Delhi NCR earthquake was measured 4 on the Richter scale. And families of Israeli hostages held in Gaza marked 500 days since their loved ones were taken captive, with nationwide protests and a symbolic 500-minute fast. In Jerusalem, protesters also thanked US President Donald Trump for brokering the recent hostage prisoner exchange, but stressed that the work is far from being done. Talks on the second phase of negotiations, which could secure more releases, have yet to begin, raising fears that Israel's military may resume operations after the current ceasefire phase ends in 2 weeks. Take a listen.
It's been 500 days that the hostages that are still alive have been suffering tremendously. We see how they're coming out. We hear about the tortures they've gone through. We've heard about the starvation. We know that we cannot let this happen. And I want to extend my gratitude to President Trump for stepping up, for showing leadership, and for bringing forth this agreement that finally has enabled us to see some of our brothers and sisters coming out of this torment. However, the work is far from being done.
Israel's Prime Minister has said he's working to make US President Donald Trump's plan to remove and resettle Gaza's population a reality. Benjamin Netanyahu said that he was cooperating with the US on a common strategy for the Palestinian territory after a meeting with the United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Jerusalem on Sunday. The talks come after US President Donald Trump proposed a US takeover of Gaza and removal of the 2 million Palestinians there to neighboring countries.
The Secretary and I also discussed how the many international institutions have been hijacked and turned into anti-American and anti-Israeli forums. We see that in the UN General Assembly, in the UN Human Rights Commission, where anti-Americanism is rampant, and more resolutions are passed about Israel than the rest of the world combined. And we see it especially in the lawfare that is being waged against America and Israel at the ICC, the ICJ, and elsewhere. The ICC has outrageously libeled Israel and issued arrest warrants based on utter lies. Like America, Israel is not subject to the jurisdiction of the ICC and does not accept the court's authority. Israel commends President Trump and his administration for restoring his executive order against the ICC and for moving quickly to sanction ICC officials.
Israel has received a shipment of heavy Mk-84 bombs from the United States, and President Donald Trump lifted a Biden-era block on their export. Trump defended his decision, saying he believes in peace through strength and that the weapons had already been contracted for. The Biden administration had previously halted the shipment over concerns about civilian casualties in Gaza. The Mk-84 is a 2,000-pound bomb that is capable of penetrating thick concrete and metal, causing extensive destruction. The decision marks a shift in U.S. policy, reinforcing Washington's military support for Israel. The widow of late Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has accused President Vladimir Putin of seeking to conceal the truth about his death in an Arctic penal colony. Navalny's widow, Yulia Navalnaya, accused Putin of trying to cover up the true causes of his death and of erasing the memory of her late husband in a video released on the anniversary of his death. Authorities blamed Navalny's death, announced February 16th in 2024, on natural causes, a sudden spike in blood pressure and chronic diseases. His family and allies reject that and insist he was killed on orders from the Kremlin, accusations its officials deny. Tens of thousands of people attended his funeral in Moscow on the 1st of March in a rare show of defiance in a country where any street rally or even single pickets often result in immediate arrest.
Сейчас, спустя год после его смерти, он пытается стереть имя Алексея из нашей памяти, скрыть правду об убийстве, заставить нас смириться. Но у него это не получится. Боль, которую мы чувствуем, делает нас сильнее. И этот год показал, что мы крепче, чем сами о себе думали.
M23 rebels, allegedly backed by Rwanda, they have advanced into the strategic city of Bukavu in eastern Congo, meeting little resistance from government troops. Rebel commander Bernard Bayamungo, he claims that the group has controlled the city since midday on Sunday. Bukavu's capture follows M23's seizure of Goma in January, further eroding Kinshasa's authority in the east. The Congolese government accuses Rwanda of sending troops into Bukavu, calling it an occupation attempt. Rwanda denies these allegations, saying it is defending itself against a Hutu militia operating alongside the Congolese forces. The rapid escalation has raised fears of a broader regional conflict. The Trump administration has escalated its legal battle by turning to the United States Supreme Court to challenge a federal judge's ruling that temporarily blocked President Trump's attempt to remove Hampton Dellinger, head of the Office of Special Counsel. This move could signal a significant legal test as the administration seeks to assert executive control over independent agencies. The Justice Department's filing argues that the judge's order is an unprecedented attack on the separation of powers as it restricts the president's authority to manage the federal government. This entire case has the potential to shape future efforts by the Trump administration to reshape the federal bureaucracy, especially as the conservative-leaning Supreme Court has shown an inclination to back executive authority in previous rulings. And at least 9 people have died in the most recent round of harsh weather to pummel the United States, including 8 people in Kentucky who died as creeks swelled from heavy rain and water-covered roads. In Alabama, the Weather Service in Birmingham said it had confirmed an EF1 tornado touchdown overnight in Hale County. Storms there and elsewhere in the state destroyed or damaged a handful of mobile homes, downed trees and toppled power lines, but no injuries were immediately reported. In Atlanta, a person was killed when a large tree fell on the home early on Sunday. Listen in to the mayor of Hazard.
We had warning on this flood, unlike 2022, which is a flash flood. but I think everybody missed the mark because it's supposed to crest at 26 feet and it gets 30.5 feet. That's the largest flood we've had since 1984. And it was, where the 2022 flood was just in one area, this encompasses the entire county. Not only was it 64 degrees last night, we're getting ready to expect 3 to 7 inches of snow. It could be at any time.
Tibet's capital Lhasa welcomed its first snowfall in 2025 on Sunday. Local residents and tourists ventured outdoors to enjoy the breathtaking winter scenery of the iconic landmarks such as the Potala Palace and the Jokhang Temple. Time for a very short break. More news and updates on the other side.
Our first year as a family flew by. And now, I want to make sure he'll be financially protected for all his birthdays to come. That's why I'm calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, how can I help?
Hi, I'd like a quick quote for family life insurance.
OK, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
That's great.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought. And could help my wife pay off the mortgage.
And with our Smart Family Guarantee, you'll have peace of mind.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0808 141 5855 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Time's up, fad diets. Life's too short to just eat cabbage soup. With its combination of medication, digital tracking and coaching, join the weight loss revolution with Voi.
I like to think ahead. Make sure I've got all the right tools for the job. And now that I've turned 50, it means looking after what I've built. I'll be retiring down the line, and with the mortgage nearly done, I want to make sure that my lot will be protected if anything happened to me. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years for full cover, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Learning more couldn't be simpler and can be done in just a few minutes. Go online or talk to one of their friendly UK team who will chat you through your options in just one phone call. And their claims process is really straightforward, so your loved ones will be looked after.
Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Get covered in minutes with no annoying trips to the doctor. With fixed monthly payments, prices start at just £4.42 a month. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Cover Today has given me genuine peace of mind. And now that's done, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0800 470 4322 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
We know travel can be confusing, so let us inspire you. Welcome to Qatar. Experience it all. World-class hospitality, diverse landscapes from city to sea, and fly there with the Airline of the Year 2022, Qatar Airways. Book now at travelup.com or call 0207 580 5000. Travel Up. Flights, hotels, holidays.
Welcome back. On to some business news. The Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba has criticized the U.S. decision to block Nippon Steel's acquisition of U.S. Steel, calling it unjust political interference. This move was initially halted by a U.S. government review board and then President Joe Biden. Ishiba's remarks come amid growing trade tensions between Tokyo and Washington, as Japan pushes for greater economic cooperation while protecting its global business interests. Japan's central bank may raise interest rates sooner than and higher than expected, with markets now pricing in a possible hike in July rather than later in the year. Bond yields have surged as investors anticipate the Bank of Japan could push rates beyond 1% and sharp shift for an economy long used to ultra-low borrowing costs. Analysts say that persistent inflation and U.S. scrutiny over currency policies could also influence the BOJ's moves. A key speech by board member Takata this week may offer further policy clues. And oil prices declined for the fourth consecutive day, with Brent crude down to $74.59 a barrel. Investors are betting that potential peace talks between Russia and Ukraine could ease sanctions and increase oil supply. Meanwhile, global trade tensions and the possibility of new tariffs are raising concerns about economic growth and energy demand. US President Donald Trump says he may meet Russian President Vladimir Putin very soon to discuss ending the war. Both Brent and WTI crude have dropped over 3% in the past 4 sessions. Asian stock markets edged higher on Monday, with Hong Kong's tech sector leading gains. Japan's economy grew faster than expected, boosting the yen, while weak US retail sales dragged down the dollar. Investors are also closely watching Russia-Ukraine talks in Saudi Arabia, though details remain unclear. Meanwhile, concerns over US tariffs on EU imports persist. Reuters reports that European Commission may impose stricter food import limits to protect local farmers, echoing President Donald Trump's trade policies. And billionaire Elon Musk has said that his XAI's artificial intelligence chatbot and ChatGPT challenger Grok 3 would be released with a live demo at 8 p.m. Pacific time on Monday. Earlier this week, Musk said that Grok 3 was in the final stages of development and would be released in about a week or two. South Korea has suspended new downloads of the Chinese AI app DeepSeek after the company failed to meet the country's data protection rules. The Personal Information Protection Commission says that the app can resume once it complies with privacy laws. Existing users can still access the service, but new downloads have been blocked since Saturday. The move follows similar action in Italy, where regulators also raised concerns about DeepSeek's handling of personal data. The Chinese startup has appointed legal representatives in South Korea to address this issue. And according to reports, Apple is all set to introduce artificial intelligence features in its Vision Pro headset as early as April. The update will reportedly bring Apple Intelligence, a new guest user mode, and a spatial content app to the $3,499 device. The move comes as Apple accelerates its AI push to stay ahead of competitors. A beta version of developers could launch this week, but Apple is yet to confirm the details. And on to some sports news. Ugandan Jacob Kiplimo set a men's half marathon world record on Sunday and also became the first runner to go under 57 minutes. The 24-year-old Kiplimo, he set a time of 56 minutes 41 seconds at a road race in Barcelona, smashing the previous record of 57:30 by Ethiopian distance runner Yomef Kejelacha last year in the Spanish city of Valencia. World Athletics said it was the greatest single improvement on the men's half marathon record, and that Kiplimo benefited from ideal weather conditions of 13 degrees Celsius with no wind. Kiplimo, in fact, won a bronze medal in 10,000 meters at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. And Neymar scored a penalty in the first half and assisted on the final goal as Santos defeated Água Santa 3-1 in the Brazil's Paulista. The victory lifts Santos to the top of Group B with 12 points after 10 matches. Guarani Portuguesa, the Red Bull Bragantino, and tied at 11 points, with Guarani holding second place on goal difference. Água Santa, meanwhile, remains at the bottom of Group C with just 1 win and 6 points. Golf legend Tiger Woods says that negotiations between the PGA Tour and Saudi-backed Live Golf are moving in the right direction. PGA Tour officials recently met with US President Donald Trump to discuss this deal. Woods, who missed the meeting, says he's optimistic that the sport will reunite and bring top players together again. Talks with Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund are ongoing with hopes of resolving the long-standing split in professional golf.
A very positive place right now. We had a meeting with the president. Unfortunately, I had some other circumstances that came up. But Jay and Adam, they did great during the meeting, and we have another subsequent meeting coming up. So I think that things are going to heal quickly. We're going to get this game going in the right direction. It's been heading in the wrong direction for a number of years, and the fans want all of us to play together, all the top players playing together, and we're going to make that happen.
And finally, some entertainment news. Papal Selection, Trinal Conclave and Period Drama, The Brutalist, were the big winners at the 2025 BAFTA Film Awards, each taking home 4 prizes. Conclave, which led nominations with 12 nods, won Best Film, Outstanding British Film, Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Editing. Director Edward Berger, he said that the film reflects today's crisis of democracy. Meanwhile, The Brutalist won Best Director for Brady Corbett and Best Actor for Adrian Brody. Mickey Madison took home Best Actress for her role in Anora. The awards, it highlighted a strong year for British and international cinema. And Colombian superstar Shakira cancelled her Sunday concert in Peru's capital, Lima, after being hospitalized with an abdominal condition. Shakira shared a statement on her Instagram and X accounts Sunday afternoon saying she's currently hospitalized and that doctors have informed her that she was not in a condition to perform. The singer arrived in Peru on Friday evening, where she was scheduled to perform on Sunday as well as on Monday. The country is the second stop on her Latin American tour following 2 nights in Brazil last week. Shakira's tour continues across Latin America before heading to Canada and the United States in May for a series of concerts through June. And according to studio estimates, on Sunday, Captain America Brave New World infused some blockbuster cash into the North American box office, bringing in $88.5 million in ticket sales over the weekend. The Walt Disney release is by far the biggest opener of 2025, and the company predicts it will hit $100 million domestically and $192.4 million globally by the end of Monday's President's Day holiday. That's all we have for you. Keep watching NDTV World.
No child should suffer the torture of trachoma, but so many are in pain right now. Nananga's lashes have turned inwards. They rip and tear away at his eyes. Pamelo's sight could be gone forever. He's just 3 years old. Kofanga screams for his mother. His eyes are so infected that he can't even see her. For so many children in the world's poorest countries, trachoma is torture. It's a painful infection often spread by flies, and it's destroying children's eyesight. But it could be stopped if you help today. By calling 0800 021 3925 and giving £2 a month to Sightsavers, you can help make sure children get the treatment they desperately need. You'll help us bring them the medicines and the care that can treat infections. And that means you'll be helping to save children from the torture of trachoma and a life of blindness. Please help us reach them. Call 0800 021 3925, text C7 to 82727, or go online and give just £2 a month now. Because we need you to help save the sight of children like Nananga. We need you to help save them from the torture of trachoma.
Poor pet. Just shows you never know what's going to happen. That's why I'm looking into Smart Family Life Insurance.
Just like families, not all life insurance is the same. That's why we offer the Smart Family Guarantee. We guarantee a straightforward application process, award-winning service you can trust, and cover from day one. Plus, you get your choice of £125 gift card.
To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora.
Yamuna River as part of their campaign promise. Now they have said that the BJP needs to decide whether the election governor is running the government or is it the BJP who is yet to form the government, but now also they are saying that they are in fact working. She has also said that out of 48 MLAs, BJP does not trust any of them, and that is why there is so much delay in announcing the chief minister's face in Delhi. But also we are seeing the BJP top sources have said that oath ceremony will take place on 20th of February. So it is yet to be seen who will be the chief minister, but there represents another confrontation between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party over this issue.
Right.
Over to you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Let's get you breaking news coming in, and this is in regard to the Supreme Court's contempt notice to the government of Uttar Pradesh. This is the notice over the bulldozer action, the notice over the mosque demolition. The Supreme Court is asking for a response, giving a deadline of 2 weeks' time. This is the Supreme Court's notice on the plea against the Uttar Pradesh's government's action that was taken. We have Nupur joining us to get us more on this. Nupur Dogra, the Supreme Court today issuing that notice on the contempt petition filed against the Uttar Pradesh authorities for alleged violation of the judgment that's dated back to November of last year, restraining demolition actions across the country without prior notice and the opportunity of really hearing.
Well, yes, today the Supreme Court has issued notices to the Uttar Pradesh government and the officials who were responsible for carrying out this particular demolition in the Kushinagar, the Madani Mosque. The petitioners have moved the Supreme Court contending that everything, there was an SDM inquiry also, and everything was found in accordance with law. And the structures that were not, this mosque, they say that was constructed on a private land. And they have told the Supreme Court that whatever the demolition that was carried out by the UP government was against the November 13th order of the Supreme Court, which has said that without proper hearing, without proper warning, without proper notice, there shouldn't be any demolition across the country. So in this particular case today, a bench of Justice B.R. Gawai and A.G. Masi have issued notices to Uttar Pradesh government and the officials and has said that they should file their responses within 2 weeks, that why contempt of court action should not be initiated against their officers for allegedly violating that particular Supreme Court order that had barred demolition without prior proper notice in cases of private properties and which belong to individuals. So this is today this is a very big development in the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court has today issued a contempt of court notice and asked why contempt of court proceedings should not be initiated against the UP officials for this particular demolition.
Right, Nupur, of course, dated back to the 13th of November last year, the Supreme Court has held that the executive cannot demolish houses or properties of people only on the ground that they are accused or convicted in a crime. A set of guidelines to be followed as far as demolition is concerned that has been issued by the court. What all does this include?
Well, there were several guidelines by the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has said that had added to the already laid down procedure. Already there was this procedure of law where the authorities had to follow, the municipal authorities had to follow certain guidelines before they demolish any property, be it a convict, be it of any property on the grounds that it is an illegal property, or it is illegally constructed, or it is encroaching on any other public land. So the Supreme Court had at that time, while laying down detailed guidelines, had said that there should be proper prior notice, proper instructions before the authorities go and demolish any property across India. So today, in this particular case, the petition has been filed alleging that this was a private property. It had prior sanction of law. Even an SDM inquiry said that there was prior sanction of law for this particular property, and yet it was demolished. And today, the Supreme Court has issued notices to the authorities and has sought their response within 2 weeks that why they should not be facing contempt of court proceedings.
Right, Nupur, stay with us for our next story as well, and that is the Supreme Court on the 1984 anti-Sikh riots. Now, the Supreme Court has asked the Delhi government to file appeals. This is the appeal over 6 acquittals in the case, and also to file petitions where it comes to the matter in a matter of 6 weeks. Now, the Supreme Court has asked the centre's response on fresh trials response, whether this is on reopening the murder cases, the 51 murder cases related to the 1984 riots. So, Nupur, get us all the details. So, Nupur, take us through really what happened in court today.
Well, yes, this particular case and this particular petition has been moved in the Supreme Court seeking speedy justice to the victims of anti-Sikh riots that took place in 1984 in Delhi. So the petitioners have said that there were at least 56 murder cases, and out of those 56 murder cases, only 5 cases were there where after filing of charge sheet, charges were framed, and in rest there was acquittal, and they have alleged that these were not fair trial. So on these grounds, they have moved the Supreme Court seeking fresh reopening of at least 51 murder cases that occurred during those 1984 anti-Sikh riots of Delhi. So the Supreme Court has previously also asked the Delhi government and asked the centre government as to what are they doing to ensure speedy justice to those victims. Today, the Supreme Court has sought centre stance and on these petitions that have sought reopening of at least 51 murder cases where acquittal has already been granted. Side by side, it has also asked the Delhi government to file at least 6 special leave petitions challenging previous acquittals in 6 such murder cases. So this is in all, it is in fact a very big development. The Supreme Court has now stepped in to ensure that there is speedy justice to victims of anti-Sikh riots of 1984.
Well, thank you so much, Nupur, for getting us those details. But also stay with us as another story coming out from the Supreme Court, with the Supreme Court saying enough is enough with regard to the number of petitions coming in on the Places of Worship Act. It was the Chief Justice of India, Sanjeev Khanna, who has said that the top court is not going to entertain any fresh petitions on the matter. Do remember that the top court is already hearing a batch of petitions from mosque authorities, Hindu right-wing organizations, as well as from political parties. Nupur, take us through the proceedings in court in regard to, the Chief Justice of India, Sanjeev Khanna, coming down heavily, saying enough is really enough.
Well, yes, today, in fact, several such petitions that are filed in the matter of legality of Places of Worship Act were listed in the Supreme Court today. However, today, while saying that these petitions will be heard by a 3-judge bench in April, the Chief Justice of India, Sanjeev Khanna, today said that enough is enough, and the Supreme Court will not entertain more such writ petitions. Due to multiplicity of such writ petitions will not be entertained by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court also dismissed such writ petitions that were already filed, but notice was not issued on those petitions, saying that already there are several petitions that have been tagged and clubbed in this case, and now the Supreme Court will only allow intervening applications that raise any fresh grounds that have not been already raised in the matter by earlier petitioners. So the Supreme Court came while dismissing several such petitions that were filed in the pending matter of Places of Worship Act, said that it will not entertain writ petitions where fresh writ petitions in the case, and said that there has to be a limit on how many petitions can be filed in this particular matter. To recall, the Supreme Court had earlier stayed all such cases, had stayed all such cases in all the courts across the country, and has said that no court should, until further orders from the Supreme Court, no fresh cases